So I did a post on Instagram and on Twitter talking about how being a good woman doesn't mean that you still know how to treat your man, right? And what I found out, especially in Bahamian culture, there are a lot of women who weren't trained, who weren't taught in the art of knowing what it is to do right by your man. A lot of women have defaulted to just being good people, right? You're nice, you're kind, you're loyal, and those are great qualities. But those qualities doesn't mean that you understand the finesse. That doesn't mean that you understand the art or even the communication or even the love language of how men operate. And it's for that reason that you find a lot of good women are being challenged with their men who are venting their frustrations to them. And it's legit. It doesn't mean that these men are insecure. It doesn't mean that these men are toxic. These are men with needs. And there are a lot of good men in relationships with good women. But I've also heard complaints from men that their good woman doesn't know what to do, right? So let's get the elephant out of the room. Sex. A lot of women believe that simply having sex is enough, right? But it's not. When it comes to treating your man properly and you are a good woman, you have to be engaged with sex. That means inside the bedroom and outside of the bedroom, okay? I'm talking about elevating that conversation to a level that's a whole lot more than just saying, I want to have sex, right? I'm talking about the art and fun behind it, right? Where's the flirting? Do you know what type of words to use? Do you know what type of energy to give? Or are you just going to request it? I want sex. Most good women were never taught how to be sexual by their mothers. And I get it. It's a taboo thing in this country. But you know what's crazy? As a Christian nation, quote unquote Christian nation, we forget that God created sex, right? If God created sex, then that means teaching women how to be sexual is a godly thing. I want y'all to really catch that. Teaching women how to be sexual is a godly thing. Most Christian women are disconnected from their sexuality. Most Christian women are anxious about being sexual. Most Christian women are afraid of being sexual. They are afraid of being vulnerable enough to show that side of themselves because they weren't taught. More than likely, they had mothers who weren't sexual as well. What happens is sexual women who happen to be Christian, their DNA, right, their genetic disposition leads them to being more sexual than other women. But just because that's present in some women more so than others doesn't mean it can't be learned, you know. These are things you have to sit down and realize are within our control to change. And so sexuality, it's not just about requesting sex. It's not just about waiting for that man to be sexual towards you, because we know men have high sex drives. Sometimes you have to take the active role and you have to take the lead position to say, you know what, let me begin creating the environment for sex. Let me begin creating the environment for love and romance to take place. You don't have to wait on that man. And the fact that you take that initiative doesn't mean that you're forward, doesn't mean that you're doing the most. It means you're understanding that this is an active role that you have to play. That's one of the biggest issues. One of the second biggest issues I see that good women are struggling with, they're too quiet, right? They don't have an opinion. Now, there's a contrast. You got toxic, dysfunctional women who have too much opinion, right? We're not talking about those women. I'm talking about the women who were taught to be quiet. The women who were taught that they should be seen before they were heard. The women who were taught that their opinions don't really carry as much weight as men do, right? That's totally incorrect. What men want from their women is someone who has a personality, okay? Someone who has their own feelings, someone who has their own thoughts, but has wisdom in how they communicate those, right? We are not all about putting your opinions to these demands, right? These demands that you need to have, that the world has to stop because you want this, or the world has to stop because you want that. That comes off very critical. It comes off like you are very entitled. And that is the problem that a lot of men have with women. It's not that men want silent women to bend to their every whim. I don't want someone just like me. I don't want someone just like me. I dated you. I married you. I got to know you because of who you were, right? And so women, what you have to do is you have to build your confidence in knowing who you are, right? You got to find that confidence to stand on your word. You have to find that confidence to voice those things of yourself that you often struggle to voice, right? He needs that. Sometimes men, and you know, we break it down to a funny joke. We'll ask our women, what is it that they want to eat, and they don't know. We'll ask our women where they want to go, and they don't know. Well, that's simply because women have been taught to disconnect from how they feel. Why? Because society makes women feel guilty for expressing themselves, right? Y'all are called crazy. Y'all are called doing the most. Y'all are called dramatic for simply having a feeling. I'm here to tell you women that that is not true. We want you to express yourself. We want you to have a feeling, but you got to understand the how. There's a time involved in how you request certain things. There's a tone involved in how you speak to your man. You can't just expect that because you have a need or because you have a want that gives you authority to somehow just interject yourself into whatever is going on in life. Pay attention to that man. Pick up on the cues of when he is stressed out. Pick up on the time of day, you know, pick up on those cues that'll show you when this man will be a little bit more receptive to certain things, right? Be aware of yourself before you bring your needs, wants, and desires to that man. Okay? Now, I've also heard some men talk about how their women are very entitled. And when I say entitled, they want a lot of things and they believe that they are deserving of things. Well, men want women who are able to handle their own. Okay? Now, when I say men want women who are able to handle their own, I'm not talking about women who lock men out. No. I'm not talking about women who don't understand what it is to create an environment for their man to be leaders in. I'm not talking about that. Men want women who aren't lazy. Men want women who are not going to wait on them to make every single move, right? Men want women who have business ideas. We want women who are capable of surviving, whether we are here or whether we're not here. Some men feel so burdened because they feel like their women depend on them for every single thing. And yes, men are providers. But in order to have a helpmate, that helpmate must also be helping, right? That means, what are you doing to lighten this load? We're not talking about just soothing wounds. We're not just talking about sex. We're talking about active participation in doing something to bring monies into the table, to bring resources into the table. Men want self-sufficient women. We want women who understand that there's a time and a place for leaning on one another, for depending on one another, but there's also a time and place when, as women, you have to pick up the baton as well. That's the thing that I think that men really want from their women. But society would make it seem that we want helpless damsels in distress. That's not true. Weak men want damsels in distress because weak men want to feel in charge 24/7. Weak men want to feel empowered 24/7. No. Strong men want their women to understand that, yes, I may be the leader here, but I also want you to know that you are a leader in your own right as well. We lead together. Understand that, yes, you may have power in certain areas, I may have power in certain areas, but we both have authority in this relationship. And if you don't have authority in this relationship, you're going to feel lazy. You're going to feel like you don't have to do the same things that your man is doing, but guess what? You do. If your man is progressive, you got to be progressive too. If your man is investing, you have to invest too. If your man is making a conscious effort to uplift this relationship, to put things into this relationship, then that woman must be doing the same thing. You can't just sit around with your hands open saying, well, what next, right? So those are the three things that I think good women struggle with. You can be a good woman, but still not know exactly what you need to be doing to treat that man properly. Ladies, I hope that this video was help to y'all. If it wasn't, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me hear your concerns. Let me hear your criticisms, because I'm always open for that, so that we can all grow together. All right? Love you all. Take care. Peace.